Taxes are decisions we make, and our government makes for us, about what we prioritize and who we prioritize. Right now, people in Warren County are making a tough decision. The budget is short, and so to pay for the roads and Medicaid and the courts and everything, someone has to pay more. One possibility is that shoppers pay more by raising the sales tax. Many residents say that puts the wrong people on the hook. The sales tax debate in Warren County on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Pearsall Wealth Management at UBS Wealth Management USA, subsidiary UBS AG, member FINRA SIPC, 1 Broad Street, Glens Falls.
Hey, I'm David Summerstein. It's Monday, August 26th. First up, hunting season for Canada geese, squirrel, and some waterfowl starts on Sunday. Hunters in most of New York can bag up to 15 geese a day until September 25th. Hunters in the Champlain Valley, though, have a daily bag limit of 18 Canada geese. Squirrel and crow hunting runs through the winter. September 1st is also the first day of hunting season for snipes, rails, and gallinules. Bird flu has been detected in many species of waterfowl. The risk to humans is low. Still, the DEC is urging hunters to be careful when processing their harvested birds. In most of New York, the sales tax rate is 8%. There are only 4 counties with a lower rate, and one of them is Warren County at 7%. It's considering raising that to where everybody else is at 8% to deal with a significant budget gap. But that proposal launched a public outcry at the county's most recent budget workshop. Amy Feiereisel reports.
Robin Larkin lives in Queensbury and said a sales tax hike isn't something many Warren County residents can afford.
As a middle-class person, and I've also been poor, 1% on a $700 purchase is $7. $7 will feed a family lunch for a week. That's my experience. That's a lot of our residents' lived experience.
Mike Parwana is a local business owner.
You are talking about taking away a competitive advantage for retail businesses.
So let's back up. Parwana and Larkin spoke during the public comment of a Warren County budget workshop earlier this month. In it, the county administrator, John Taflin, laid out the financial crunch the county is in. For the last few years, they've been dipping into their reserve fund to balance the budget, robbing Paul to pay Peter.
For the past 3 years, we've taken $1.5 to $2.5 million each year from the general fund to balance the budget.
Taflin said the general fund is a savings account, and they're depleting it. It's been worse in 2024 with all the storms and washouts.
This year, since January, we've taken $7.7 million out of the general fund.
And there are more expenses coming. Additional road repairs, electrical updates for SUNY Adirondack, and union contracts for county employees still under negotiation. This is why the Warren County supervisors are considering raising the county's sales tax, which is a huge part of its revenue.
The biggest chunks of our budget are funded by property tax and sales tax. And you can see sales tax at 41% is the highest percentage.
The current sales tax rate is 7%. Every other county in New York is at 8%, except for Ontario and Western New York, and neighboring Washington and Saratoga counties. A 1% increase would mean about $25 million extra dollars per year, more than enough to balance the budget and start replenishing the reserves. Deborah Runyon, the town of Thurman supervisor, said that's important.
You never know when something catastrophic is going to happen. You need to have a surplus.
But raising any tax is not popular. Ron Conover is supervisor for the town of Bolton.
I mean, who in the room wants to raise the cost of anything on anybody? But that's the reality in front of us.
Several supervisors expressed frustration with the fixed costs from state mandates. 15% of the county's budget is for state programs they have no control over, like Medicaid. None of the supervisors was gung-ho about the sales tax option at the budget workshop. But members of the public were flat out against it. Local resident Robin Larkin said people will travel to a cheaper option, like she did when she lived on the border of Schenectady and Saratoga counties. Like Warren, Saratoga has the 7% rate.
Oh, we paid attention. If you had to make a big box appliance purchase, we'd all remind each other. You go up to Saratoga. We made those drives and we did it all the time.
35% of sales tax in Warren County comes from visitors. 65% comes from residents. Dave LaBelle, a retired Warren County employee, says that means the real burden would be on locals. He said the county needs to cut.
I'll tell you what you do. You do whatever the general public has to do. You do what I have to do. We tighten our budgets. We cut spending. We find ways with our own budgets to pay for things.
J.P. Garvey, a local car dealer, said he would prefer to see a property tax increase over a sales tax hike because sales tax is a regressive tax.
Which means it disproportionately impacts middle and lower income citizens, residents, and customers the most.
In the budget meeting, the county administrator suggested the property tax could actually be reduced if they increase sales tax. But resident Mike Parwana said that means low-income people who don't own property would get hurt by the sales tax and then not benefit if the property tax goes down.
Down the road is a trailer park, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people living in those trailer parks, families with a couple kids, family of 4 in a mobile home, and they are going to get nothing, zero.
The earliest a sales tax hike could take effect would be in 2026, and Warren County would have to request that the state allow them to do so. The Board of Supervisors will hold several more meetings and budget workshops about the county budget deficits. Sales tax may or may not be still on the agenda. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
I have a little bonus story for you today. I was at a Tupper Lake Riverpigs baseball game earlier this summer. So fun, right there on the waterfront, really nice. And I met this guy who bangs a huge bass drum at every game from the stands. He has a white beard, and he was handing out candy canes. Mixed messages for the season, right? But this guy is Tupper Lake Santa Claus. Here's this herd up north.
Get him out! Get him out! Let's go Riverpigs! I'm Michael Russell, a.k.a. Santa Claus. I've done it 46 years. I'm an avid supporter of the Riverpigs. Oh! Nice single. Another run score. Riverpigs down 4-2. I have a big bass drum with the Riverpig emblem on one side is black. The other side is gold. I distribute candy canes to the young and the old. I like to support local sports teams, high school, everything like that.
First baseman Aramis Cruz.
I'm volunteer fireman for 45 years.
Center fielder number
I've
3.
done everything. The last 3 or 4 years is new. We used to have baseball, but not as much. And seeing potential of a lot of these young players, we've seen a lot of them come up. They're in the Minnesota Twins, Kansas City, and other organizations. And the group of players are very friendly, respectful. And some of these guys have never seen Santa Claus and stuff like that. And once a year, I actually dress in my full garb, the red traditional. There we go! Whiff. Every winter, actually, I've done it every month of the year, but mainly it's November, December. I do a lot of private engagements. I do public engagements, fire departments. I do 7 fire departments across the North Country now. Oh! Make him a hitter! Make him a hitter! Every year, the fire department, either I ride the fire truck or I have my own sleigh. The fire department escorts me around. They do the one half of Tupper Lake one night and the other half the other night. We ride around, we stop on corners and like that. We either stop at Stewart's for a half hour or Larkin's and just give candy canes and things out to the kids. And it's good for the community. They get incitement in the community, which it needs. And hopefully it will start thriving and bring a lot more back to Tupper Lake.
Michael Russell bangs the bass drum at Tupper Lake Riverpig games in the summer, and he's Tupper Lake's resident Santa Claus all year long. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Christopher Watts of Canton and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.